Okay.
Good morning, students. Welcome to my lecture. Before discussing about the today's topic, let me discuss about COs and POs mapping. See here, the CO1, the course outcome of the unit 1 is you will be able to analyze the complex system and you will be able to understand the object model. This is the course outcome of your first unit. Again, I am repeating. Course outcome CO1 is you will be able to analyze complex systems and understand the object model. This is the CO1. This CO1 is mapped to the PO. PO means program outcome. Computer Science Department POs. Program outcome. This I have mapped to the first PO because you need basic knowledge is required. Basic knowledge of object orientation is required to solve the complex problems. That's why I have mapped to the PO1. Next, PO2 is problem analysis. I have mapped the CO1 to PO1. PO2. PO2 is problem analysis. As the analysis phase helps you to analyze the real world problems. Here, in analysis phase, what you are going to do is you will identify the classes, objects, what are the relations between the objects, relation between the classes you will identify, and next the model and the outcome of this problem analysis phase, the outcome of this analysis phase will serve as model for design phase. So I have connected this CO1 to PO3 also, because you need to design the solutions for the complex problems. The outcome of the analysis phase will serve as a model for design phase. You are going to design the solutions for the complex problems. So I have mapped to PO3. I have mapped this CO1 to PO1, engineering knowledge, and PO2 is problem analysis, and PO3 is design or development of solutions. Okay. Now, before going right into the today's topic is attributes of complex system. Before going right into the topic, let me recap for 10 minutes previous session topics. Everyone, please listen carefully. In previous class, we have discussed about inherent complexity of software. So, the complexity, one second, just excuse me. The complexity of software comes from these four elements. Okay, the complexity of software comes from these four elements. What are the elements? See the PPT. First element is problem domain. From problem domain, complexity of software arises. And difficulty in managing the development process. Next complexity arises from managing the development process. Next complexity comes from flexibility of software. Next complexity comes from behavior of discrete systems. Let us see one by one. Problem domain. First element is problem domain. Here the complexity arises due to these ones. Let us see first point. Developers may lack in detailed knowledge of application. Of course, although the developers have programming skills, the developers may lack in knowledge of application domain. For example, let us take online transaction. The application domain is online transaction. After transaction has done, the developer must know how the money is deducted. He should have the knowledge on online transactions also. Of course, he know the programming skills, he know how to write the program, but he should know some knowledge about the application domain also. If the developer doesn't know any knowledge on the application domain, here the complexity comes. Next, complexity arises due to, excuse me one second, due to vague knowledge. Next, complexity arises due to vague knowledge of the customer. If client is unclear about the requirements, what he wants, which type of software he wants, what functionalities he wants, if he is unclear, vague means unclear. If he is unclear about the requirements, what he wants, then developer cannot develop the system. So here the complexity arises. Next complexity comes from communication gap. If there is communication gap between developer and client and developer must communicate, right? Client must say what he wants, which type of software, what functionalities he wants, okay? So there must be good communication between the client and developer. If there is a communication gap, then developer cannot develop the system properly, okay? So here the complexity arises. Here again the complexity arises due to contradictory requirements. If the client is giving some contradictory requirements, again complexity, here the complexity arises. Next, system decay. System decay means over the time the performance of the system may decrease. This tendency of decrease, excuse me, this over the time the performance of the system will decrease. This tendency of decreasing of performance of the software system is called system decay. So here over the time the system may become unused, or it may become faulty. So what you must do, you must maintain the code. Maintaining the code is not just writing the code. You must evaluate the code. If there are errors, you must rectify as early as possible, okay? See, if performance is decreasing, you cannot change the code, right? You cannot change the code. If you are changing the code means here it becomes more complex and it becomes more expensive. Here the complexity arises. Okay, system must be maintained. Next, you must preserve legacy system. Legacy means old systems. Why you need to preserve the old systems? Because to keep the decaying software. Already I have said what is decaying software. To keep the decaying software in operation, if you want to keep the old systems, if the old systems want to work in present technologies also or present environment also, you must maintain the legacy system or you must preserve the old system, okay? This is the system decay. Next complexity arises. Next element. First element is completed. What is the first element? Problem domain, okay? From problem domain, complexity arises. Next element is difficulty of managing development process. So here the complexity arises. How complexity arises? Let us see. As a developer, you need to provide illusion of simplicity. Illusion means belief. You must make your user to feel that you must make, as a developer, you must make the user to feel that the system, this complex system is very easy, which you have developed. The software is very easy to operate. He must feel like that. He should not feel like it is very complex. See the cartoon, you can understand. This cartoon is taken from your textbook, prescribed textbook. See the cartoon, you can understand. The user must feel as if it is very easy to operate the software. You should not feel it is very difficult. But as a developer, you know that you are developing a complex system. you should strive such a way that you must write less code. If you are writing more code means you are making the system very complex. Okay, as a developer you must strive to write less code using powerful techniques. Okay, remember that. Here the to provide illusion of simplicity, here the complexity arises. Next, large requirements means more number of large code is required. You must write large number of code, and large team must be, there must be a large team. Here the difficulty comes. How the difficulty comes? Because you need to manage all the, here there must be good coordination between the teams. There may be a lot of people, right? Team members. There will be team members, technical experts, domain experts, independent testers, architectural or ownership leadership team, and program manager, program coordination team. There will be many teams. There must be good coordination between them. Here the complexity arises. Okay. Next element is two elements completed. From next element where the complexity of software comes from is flexibility. Flexible software. Flexibility. What is flexible software? If a software runs on any platform or any device which comes in future also, it must run on any platform or on any device which comes in future, or on any software application, then it is called flexible software. Okay, but here, due to the non-availability of standards and few frameworks, due to the non-availability of standards and due to the non-availability of frameworks, here the complexity arises. For example, to scan a document, you are downloading some scan application, right? Some app, scanning app, you are downloading it, but you are not purchasing an industrial scanner, a big scanner machine. You are not purchasing it. You are just downloading from Play Store. Just you are downloading some scan apps, right? So how it is working? These applications, scan applications are flexible software. Okay, you are not purchasing some industrial machine, scanning machine. You are not purchasing, right? You are just downloading a software. That software is a flexible software. It can run on any device which is coming in future, or on any application, or on any platform. Here the complexity arises. To build this flexible software is really difficult. To develop this flexible software is really difficult. Here the complexity comes. Next, the next element where the complexity arises is behavior of a discrete system. Behavior of discrete system. What is discrete system? First, you need to know what is continuous system and what is a discrete system. Continuous system means the state of a variable state continuously changes. Okay. Here, discrete system means state of a variable will change at some discrete times. So, an example of discrete system is computer. What is meant by state? You know that, see, for example, I am taking int a equal to 10. What is this a? A is a variable, name of a memory location which contains values, and this memory location will contain some address, right? So what is state of a variable? State means it is a variable plus its value. What is value? Its value plus what is address? 1000. These are called state. State means variable plus its value plus its address. Okay. This is called state of the variable. In discrete system, the state of the variable changes at a discrete time only. So you cannot consider all the external systems, you cannot consider all the external systems, and you cannot test by considering all external systems. You can test only by considering some events. You cannot test all by considering all external events. Here the complexity comes. Okay, here the four elements is completed. This is what I have discussed in your previous class. Now today's topic is attributes of complex system. Listen carefully. I request all the students to listen carefully. In middle of the class, I will activate the live post. You need to answer. Attributes of complex system. Attributes of complex system means these are the features of complex systems or properties of a complex system. Every complex system will have these attributes. Without these attributes, the complex system will not be. Okay, only the complex system with these attributes, it contains these attributes or it contains these features. What are those? See here, there are 5 attributes. These are very important. Listen carefully. 5 attributes of complex system or features of complex system or properties of complex system, whatever it may be. See here, there are 5 attributes. First one is hierarchic structure. First attribute the complex system should contain is hierarchic structure. Next feature is relative primitives. Next feature is separation of concerns. Next one, fourth one is common patterns. Fifth one is stable intermediate forms. Again, I am repeating, you need to remember all these attributes. There are 5 attributes of the complex system. First attribute is hierarchic structure. First attribute is hierarchic structure. Next attribute is relative primitives. Next attribute is separation of concerns. Next attribute is common patterns. Next attribute is stable intermediate forms. Let us discuss one by one. First one is hierarchic structure. Every complex system will have hierarchic structure. Already we have discussed some of the examples of complex systems from all disciplines, not only from computer science, all disciplines. In first class, we have discussed about examples of complex system. In that, I have mentioned hierarchical structure. Okay, remember, just memorize it. Every complex system will have hierarchical structure. You cannot imagine the complex system without hierarchical structure. You can understand the parts of the complex system only if they are arranged in some hierarchical fashion. Okay, hierarchical structure only. This is the cartoon which I took from your prescribed textbook. Okay, this is just a cartoon which I took from the prescribed textbook. I hope you understood. See here, you know that complex system consists of large components, many components. Each component must be interacted to each other. See this cartoon. See, this is a Tarzan cat building. In order to perform, see here, there are many systems. Something, just see here. See the cartoon, something like meow system and aggregation system and cuddling system, purring system, cat breathing ventilation system. There are many systems. See, if this want to perform its functions, all these systems must work together. There must be some interrelation between them. Okay, this is just a simple cartoon so that you can understand. So, every complex system must have hierarchical structure. The complex system is made up of many parts and each component is in turn divided into subcomponents. Okay, each component in the complex system is in turn divided into subcomponents. Again, these subcomponents again in turn divided into some subcomponents. Okay, all these components must be interacted with each other. Then only the complex system will function. You can understand all these parts if they are arranged in hierarchical fashion only. That means complex system must have hierarchical structure. Then only you can study the parts of the complex system. Okay. Next, I hope you understood. Once again, see the screen and see the cartoon. You can understand. This is the first attribute of complex system. Next attribute. Coming to the next attribute is relative primitives. What is meant by primitive? There is no exact definition of primitive. But in computing, primitive means basic. In computing, primitive means basic or smallest unit of processing available to the programmer. Okay, primitive means there is no exact definition of primitive. In computing, primitive means a basic thing or smallest unit of processing available to the programmer. I'll explain with an example. At that time you can understand. See the example. For example, see the example. For example, I want to draw an image. I am drawing an image. See here. Some image. I am drawing some image. Something. This is an image. Okay. Just assume this is an image. So what are the primitives of this image? See here. Line, some curves or circle, whatever it may be. See, when I combined these only, the image is forming. How this image? I had drawn an image. See the screen. This is an image, right? I had drawn an image. So, combine line. See, I had drawn horizontal line, vertical lines, and a curve or circle. So, when I join these lines, curves, and circle only, an image is formed. So, what are the primitives of this image? Line is a primitive, curve is a primitive, circle is a primitive. Okay. So, by joining these primitives only, I got an image. In the same way, for software system also, there will be primitives. When you combine these smallest components only, you will get large component. Okay. I hope you understand what is meant by primitive. Again, see here. If I want to draw an image, see I have drawn an image. 1 second. See here. I am drawing an image. Some image I am drawing. This is an image. Okay. Some Mickey Mouse I have drawing. So this is an image. What are the primitives of the image? I had drawn two vertical lines. Some lines. Line is a primitive. Next, some curves. I have used some curves, right? Like this. Some curves. So by joining these curves and by these lines only, I am getting this Mickey Mouse. I assume that this is a Mickey Mouse. Just I have drawn a Mickey Mouse. So how I am getting this image? I am joining lines and curves. So these are considered as primitives of this image. In the same way, in complex system also, there will be primitives. Primitives means smallest systems. Okay, when you join all the small systems only, you will get the complex systems. So while designing a complex system, you must identify what are the primitives. Okay, what are the primitives of the system? Then only you can develop a system. Another example. In programming languages, you know the primitives. What are the primitives in programming languages? Let us see. Programming language primitives. Let us take primitive data type. Primitive data type or basic data types. What are those? Int, float, double, char. All these are primitive data types. These primitives are used to create more complex piece of codes. Without this, you cannot declare a variables, right? These are the primitives. Without this, you cannot declare the variable. These primitives are used to create more complex piece of code. I'm talking about code. Okay. In the same way, coming to the complex system, there will be primitive components. You need to identify those primitive components. When all these primitive components join together only, you will get a complex system. Okay, this is the attribute. I hope you understood what is meant by relative primitive. Primitive means smallest unit or basic thing. So you need to choose what are the components of the system or primitive. If you are developing a system, a complex system, how can you develop a complex system? First, you need to develop a simple system, and then you will add some features to that. It will become some complex. Again, you will add some features. It will become some complex system. In this way, you will develop a complex system. Okay. I hope you understood the primitives. Now I will activate the polls. Every student must click the answer only once. I hope you understood hierarchical structure and relative primitives. I have explained with simple examples so that you will understand well. I will activate every student. Please be attentive in the class. See, everyone must answer this. Understand the complex system. Open the Google Chrome. See, the first, open the Google Chrome and type pollev.com/Lavanya Susan SUSAN 569. You will get this question. Click the answer only once. I request all the students to do this. I got only 14 results. All the students. We can understand the complex system that have which structure? Only 34. Everyone must answer. We can understand the complex system that have dash structure. Which structure? Okay, stop responding. I'm displaying the result. Stop responding. Stop responding. %5 have answered like simple structure. How can the complex system will have simple structure? It is a wrong answer. 98% have answered hierarchical structure. Very good. Yes. A complex system must have hierarchical structure from lower level to higher level. It should not have a simple structure or sequential structure. The complex system must have an hierarchical structure. Very good. Most of you have answered. Some of you have answered none of the above. How can you say none of the above? See, a complex system must have the hierarchical structure only. Some of you have answered sequential structure, not a sequential structure. It is answer is hierarchical structure. Very good. I hope you are listening to my class. Okay, next question. See the next question. Answer the next question. Answer the next question. Which of the following is related to relative primitives? Just now I have explained it. Which of the following is related to relative primitive? Everyone should answer. Just click only once. Just click the answer only once. Which of the following is related to relative primitive attribute? Okay, stop responding. Please stop responding. All the students stop responding. Don't click the answer. Stop responding. I'm showing the results. Okay, 62%. 68% have answered like yes. It is very, very good. Relative primitive means just now I have explained. How can you say the complex components? No, relative primitive means smallest or basic thing. So which of the following is related to relative primitives? It's not large components. Basic or smallest components. Primitive components means smallest or simple components. By identifying these simple components only, you can build the large system. I already explained by drawing some image. I have drawn some image. Something like Mickey Mouse, I have drawn it and I have explained it. 10% have answered like complex components. How it is related to the relative primitives? B is an answer. Most of you have answered as B. Very good. This is related to relative primitive, basic or smallest components. Very good. Okay. Okay, stop responding. Let us continue next primitives. Okay, see the screen. Next primitive. We have discussed only two primitives. There are 5 primitives. We have discussed only 2 primitives. First primitive is hierarchical structure. Second primitive is not primitive, attributes. I'm sorry. First attribute is hierarchical structure. Second attribute we have discussed is relative primitives. Third attribute is separation of concerns. See the screen. Next attribute, separation of concerns. One second. Separation of concerns means this feature or attribute, separation of concerns, will help to analyze will help to analyze and study the design or each part of the complex system. Okay, separation of concern, this attribute or this feature will help to analyze and study the different parts of the complex system. This is very important feature. Without this feature, you cannot study the complex system. Okay, you cannot design the complex system. Without this feature, you cannot design the complex system. You know that all components are all the complex system are decomposable. See the diagram. See, this is a computer system, right? All these parts are decomposable into CPU, hard disk, monitor, etc. You can see all these components. All these are decomposable, right? See here, hard drive, printer, monitor, keyboard, all these are decomposable. Okay, you know that complex system is made up of large components, interactable components. Without interaction, it will not function. The complex system will not function. See the diagram. The complex system is decomposable. Okay, decomposable means you can divide you can break that means you can divide the complex system into small components. See here, you can understand. Inside CPU there will be hard drive. See here, see the diagram, see the mouse here, you will understand. All these components are decomposable. So for example, just assume that CPU, this is a CPU, right? Assume that all these components are independent, not dependent, not interacting with any other component. Just assume these components are not interacting with other component. Just assume. Now you want a file which is, you want to display a file. For example, see the screen, something is displaying, right? See here, see the monitor, some image is displaying. You want this image to display. What you will do? So the file stored in hard disk or memory, the file which is stored in memory, the processor must process, right? It must fetch from memory. The processor must process the data. How it will process the data? It must communicate with memory. Okay, from memory the control unit will fetch the data from memory. Okay, without this communication, how the data will be displayed on the monitor? See here, how the data will be displayed on the monitor if the CPU or processor is not communicating with other component like memory. It must communicate, right? The CPU or processor must communicate with memory unit. Why it is communicating with memory unit? Because the data is stored in memory only. So the control unit of processor must fetch the data from the memory, and then the ALU will be processed, right? If there are arithmetic logical operations, the ALU will process the data. Okay, just a simple example so that you will understand. So each and every component of the complex system is decomposable. You can divide it into many parts. Okay, and these components must be interacted with each other. There must be communication between these components. If there is no communication, then the complex system will not function. To process the data, CPU must fetch the data from the memory. It should communicate with the memory unit, right? Without the communication, the function will not happen. I hope you understood. This is a very important feature which you need to consider during, as a developer. You need to consider this feature during the development of the complex system, or during the designing of complex system. You need to consider this feature. I hope you understood. Next, common patterns. Next one is common patterns. Next feature or next attribute. Sorry, 1 second. There is another concept. In separation of concern, there is another concept. See here, I am writing it. This separation of concern can be characterized by amount of intercomponent linkage. See, I am writing in the PPT. Just see here. Just I have missed this content. Sorry. Intra component linkage. Sorry, I have missed this topic in the PPT. See, I am writing here. Separation of concern, this attribute. This can be characterized by intra-component linkage. Intra-component linkage means interaction. See the PPT, I am writing on the PPT. Interaction of subsystems within component. Interaction of subsystems within component. See, intra-component. Please listen carefully. Intra-component linkage means interaction of subsystems within component. For example, see here, see the diagram. See this diagram. CPU. Take CPU. What are the components present inside the CPU? ALU, control unit, and some memory registers. It contains some registers, right? Okay. See, all these components must interact with each other in order to process the data. If a CPU want to process the data, first the control unit must fetch the data from memory, and it gives the data to ALU. If there is a arithmetic and logical operations, then it gives to the ALU. ALU will process the data, and the results are stored in, the results are stored in memory. Okay, from memory, data is transferred to the output device. From memory, data is transferred to the output device, and in output device like monitor, data will be displayed. This is called intra-component linkage. Intra means within the component, within the CPU. Within the CPU, see the diagram, within the CPU, again there are some subcomponents like ALU, control unit, registers. All these must communicate in order to function. All this must communicate, okay. This is called intra-component linkage. I hope you understood. Once again, see the PPT. Just I have written this intra-component linkage. Intra means interaction of subcomponents within component only. Within that component, within the CPU, there will be many other components. Interaction between them is called intra-component linkage. Next, next one is inter-component linkage. See, I am writing in the PPT. See here, inter, not intra. Inter-component linkage. It means interaction of different components or across components. Okay, interaction of different components or across components, not within the components. Example, take a processor. See here, see the diagram. Processor or CPU and memory, main memory. See the diagram. Now, to process the data, you know that data is stored in main memory, right? This is other component. Processor is other component and main memory is other component. Main memory is not present inside the processor. Inside the processor, the subcomponents are ALU, control unit and registers. Okay, remember that. Main memory is another component. Processor is another component. So, in order to process the data, you know that data will be stored in main memory, right? Data will be stored in main memory temporarily. So, the processor must, the data must be fetched from memory unit, and then the processor will execute the data, or it will process the data, right? So, there must be communication between the component processor and the component main memory. So these are two different components. So inter-component linkage means interaction between components, different components or across the components, not within the component. Processor is a different component, main memory is a different component. So in order to process the data, the control unit which is present inside the processor must fetch the data from main memory, right? There must be some communication between them. This is called inter-component linkage. Intra is different, inter is different. Okay. Once again, see. Inter-component linkage means interaction of different components or across the components. Okay. I hope you understood it. Once again, see the PPT. Next attribute is common patterns. Common patterns. Complex systems will have common patterns. For example, just an example, consider an example. I will explain with an example. At that time, you can understand. See, I'm writing in the PPT example. Processor in PC. Processor in computer, there will be processor, right? Without the processor, execution will not take place. In PC, personal computer. Again, there will be processor in mobile phones. Okay. So what is the common pattern here? There will be processor in PC, there will be processor in mobile phones. So what is the common component here? Processor. So you must identify the common patterns in designing the complex systems. You must identify it. What is the common component in PC and mobile's processor? So by identifying these components, you no need to again develop the processor. Okay, no need to design or develop the processor again. You can reuse the processor because processor will present in PC and processor will be in mobile phones. So this common component no need to develop again from scratch. From scratch, you no need to, as a developer, no need to develop this component again. Okay, you can reuse. See here, the main advantage of identifying the common patterns is, you know that every complex system will have some common patterns. or common components. For example, here processor. Again, no need to develop the processor from scratch. You can reuse the component. No need to develop again. You can reuse the component. Okay. So the main advantage of this common pattern, this feature is you can reuse the component. No need to develop the component again and again. It allows us to create a usable solution. You can reuse the component. See the examples here. Okay, common patterns means every complex system will have the common component. First, while as a developer, while you are designing a complex system, you must identify what are the common components present in every complex system. Here, for example, in PC and mobiles, there will be processor. Again, no need to develop it. You can reuse already developed component, processor. No need to develop from scratch. Again, you can reuse the component. So the main advantage component. Okay. Once again, see the PPT. You will understand. Next feature. Stable intermediate forms. Stable next attribute or next feature or next property. Stable intermediate forms. See, it is very difficult to design a complex system, right? It is very difficult to design a complex system. First, you must identify what are the primitives. Already I have discussed the primitives, smallest components. You must identify smallest components. You must identify what are the smallest components. That you must design the smallest components, or you must develop the smallest components first. You should not develop the complex components first. First, you must identify in first stage, you must identify smallest component. And in next stage, second stage, you must add some features to the smallest components. Okay, you must add some features to the smallest components, which become some complex components. In another stage, again, you must add some other features. So keep on going, you will build a complex system. Stage by stage you need to develop. Okay, you should not develop all at once. Okay, you must identify what are the smallest components in the complex system. You must identify the smallest component, and then you must develop that smallest component. In next stage, second stage, you must add some features to the smallest component, which becomes some complex component. And again, in next another stage, you must add some other features to the complex component, which becomes some other complex component. And finally, you are developing the complex system. Okay, that means you must develop the complex system stage by stage. For example, see here, I am taking MATLAB. MATLAB is a tool used for image processing, video processing, scientific purpose. MATLAB means Matrix Laboratory. Matrix Laboratory. It is a tool. Okay, it is a tool. This is a software. It is a tool. Assume that you are developing a MATLAB. Okay, what is MATLAB? Matrix Laboratory, which is used for the image processing, video processing, scientific purpose. So in MATLAB, you can do any type of mathematical calculations. Okay, this is used for scientific purpose. Assume that you are developing a MATLAB. So what are the primitives here? See here, first numbers. Numbers are the primitives. First, you must start from representing numbers. While designing this MATLAB, assume that you are developing a MATLAB. You can do all scientific you can do all mathematical calculations. To do these mathematical calculations, first you must represent numbers, right? Like int, float, double, excuse me, see here, you need to represent number first, which contain int, integer, float, double. So here, once you build these numbers like int, float, double, complex numbers, then we use them to see. First, in first stage, we have developed these numbers int, float, double. In next stage, you want to do some bigger functionalities like matrices, vectors. You need to do these bigger functionalities. So when you see in this first stage, these numbers representing int, float, double, these numbers are complex in first stage. Okay, in first stage. When you are coming to second stage, in second stage you need to represent matrices, vectors. When you are coming to the second stage, the complex objects. Think this is an object, integer is an object, float is an object, double is an object. When you are coming to the next stage, second stage, the objects considered in first stage becomes primitives. Okay, in first stage, integer object, float object, double object are very complex for you. As a developer, in first stage, they became complex for you. But in second stage, when you are developing matrices and vectors, these components like integer, float, double became primitives. Primitives means basic. They are not complex in second stage. Okay. That means the objects that are considered complex in one stage becomes primitive objects in other stage. Again, I am repeating. See, again I am repeating, the objects that are considered complex in first stage, you thought that integer, float, double are very complex. But in second stage, while you are representing matrices, vectors, these complex objects like int, float, double became very simple objects in next stage. Okay, this is very important point. Again I am repeating. Objects that are considered complex in one stage becomes primitive objects in another stage. This is an example, just a simple example. Okay, I hope you understood. So I will activate the live polls. You need to answer all those questions. Again, I am repeating. See here. Stable intermediate forms. Okay, stable intermediate forms means, so to build the complex system, you must mature from first stage to another stage. This is called intermediate form. What is intermediate form? During developing a complex system, you must go from first stage to another stage. This is called intermediate form. You must develop the complex system stage by stage. Here the important point you must remember is the objects which are considered complex in one stage. In one